Alright, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for lesson 1.7, which is adding fractions with unlike denominators. So go ahead and write lesson 1.7 in the top of your math notebook, along with the title, and then write the I can statement. I can add fractions with unlike denominators. So let's look at that fraction pairing we have there. 1/2 plus 1/3. Right now I can't do anything with that in terms of addition because they don't have the same denominator, and that is required to add these. So I can create a common denominator just like we have been doing in class. So I can look at 1/2 plus 1/3, and I can just multiply 2 times 3 to give me a common denominator. So I'm going to turn 1/2 into 3/6 by multiplying the numerator and the denominator by 3. I'm going to make 1/3 into 2/6 by multiplying the numerator and denominator by 2. Now that they have the same denominator, I can add them, and that's going to give me a total of 5/6. We can also model with fraction bars. So let's look at this word problem here. Luke mixed 1/3 cup of orange juice with 1/4 cup of pineapple juice. What total amount of juice does he have? Well, I can model those in fraction bars, so I've got thirds and fourths drawn here. So there's 1/3, that'd be the orange juice. There's 1/4, that's the pineapple juice. Now the problem that I run into right now is even if there was some way where I could grab this and stick this up here, I wouldn't know what the exact total is. There's just no good way to do that. So I'm going to go ahead and make that common denominator. 3 times 4 will give me 12. And 12, 3, and 4 are both factors of that, so that works very well. So I'm going to make thirds into twelfths, and I'm going to have to do that by dividing each of these bars into 4 equal parts. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I've got 3 bars that each had 4 in them. Now I'm going to do the same thing with fourths, except now I'm going to have to put 3 in each of those because 4 times 3 is 12. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Now, how many twelfths is 1/3? Well, let's go back up to our thirds bar. How many twelfths are in here? Well, there are 4. How many are in 1/4? Well, there are 3 twelfths in 1/4. So if I add 4 twelfths and 3 twelfths together, 4 plus 3 is 7, so that's going to give me 7 twelfths. So if I think about my original equation, what is the total of 1/3 and 1/4? Well, after I come up with a common denominator of 12, it's 7 twelfths. So Luke has 7 twelfths of a cup of juice. This is a page that actually came right out of one of the workbooks, but I thought it was a good way to kind of illustrate the first problem we did, and the second one is similar to the one we just did with the juice. So at the beginning we had 1/2 plus 1/3. You can see even if we put them on this fraction bar, don't really know what this is worth without having a common denominator here. We could guess, but that's not going to be accurate. You know, that's one thing I like about math. It's either right or it's wrong. So we turned 1/2 into 3/6 by multiplying both the numerator and denominator by 3. We did 1/3 by 2 to give us a common denominator of 6. And we had 3/6 plus 2/6, and that would be the 5/6 that you see shaded in right here. Down at the bottom, we did twelfths for the juice. The only difference here is now we've got 2/3 here, but we've got 1/4 numerator and denominator times 3 is 3 twelfths. Over here we make 8 twelfths by multiplying both the numerator and denominator by 4, giving us a common denominator of 12. If I take 3 twelfths plus 8 twelfths, that gives me a total of 11 twelfths, which you can see here, only 1/12 not filled in. Now, let's go back to multiplication. Okay, that to me is one of the easiest ways to do it. It will always work. There's never going to be any guesswork behind it. You just have to know which numbers to multiply. One of the things that I always like to check when I look at fractions, I like to ask myself, is there any way to make one denominator into another? Could I make 10 into 5? Yes, I could. I could divide it by 2. Unfortunately, that won't work here because my numerator is 7. It has to be an even number divided by 2, so I can't do it that way. So how about I go the other way? Let's make 5 into 10. And I can do that by multiplying by 2, so you can see there. So that's going to give me 2/10. So now I'm going to plug that into the original problem. 7/10 plus 2/10 is a total of 9/10. Let's look at this problem here. Can I make 8 into 5? No. Can I make 5 into 8? No, still not. All right. So I'm going to do the easier method, which is just to multiply these together. 8 times 5 is 40. So I'm going to make a common denominator of 40. So I'm going to do 3/8 times 5. for 15/40ths, and I'm going to do 2/5 times 8 for 16/40ths. Remember, I'm trying to equal 40 down here at the bottom, so the number I multiplied changes. All right. Now I have two fractions with the same denominator, so if I go ahead and add those up, 15/40ths plus 16/40ths, that's going to give me a total of 31/40ths. And let's look at one more. Okay, I've got one here where I can make 4 into 8. That will work. I can multiply by 2. Again, I can't divide here because I can't divide 5 by 2, so I'm just going to stick with my fourths. I'm going to multiply that by 2, numerator and denominator, for a total of 2/8. Plug that back into the original problem. 2/8 plus 5/8 equals 7/8. Your turn. I need you to add or subtract the problems you see there. Do what I talked about. Check to see if you can make one denominator into another. And be sure to show your work. I need to know how you're getting these answers when you do them in your math notebook. If you have any questions, be sure to ask tomorrow.